Hi everybody, I'm Jeff with the Tattooed Spirit. Moving on to our second pip card, the Wand Suit. It is the Two of Wands. I guess that would make the most sense, wouldn't it? You have here the situation in which you find yourself making a decision, making a choice. We can understand a little bit more how the numbers with each particular suit is going to begin to speak to you on a whole different level, but kind of tell you the same thing. With one, there's just kind of unity in the beginning of something new. It's not until you have two things in the picture that you have to make a choice. When you do your spreads and you see this Two of Wands come up, you're going to understand that whether you know it or not, because it could be a subconscious, wavering between two different options. It could be a difference between 4 or 5 different options, but to give it the primal idea of choice, it has to be the number 2. Okay, so if you're outweighing or you're thinking about, which way am I going to go? I have all these different options. It's still represented by the number 2. It's still represented by making a choice of a new way of doing with the number 2, because it's the most basic primal idea of, do I choose this way or that way? That's why the number 2 is important. You can kind of see just with the character himself in this particular card that there are 2 wands. That's kind of the ongoing pattern in case you don't know now. 3 will have 3 wands in it, and so on and so forth. That this character, and this is really something interesting, how the cards further work with other cards. Whenever you begin to understand this really cool little tidbit, that it wasn't too long ago that I was enlightened by this idea, that choosing between these 2 wands, he has right in the middle the earth, a globe, a little model of the world. Okay? And really, whenever, I don't expect anyone to get this yet until we talk about the coin suit, the pentacle suit, the same thing. That is the earth suit. Okay? Remember how we talked about elements? The pentacle suit is the coin suit. That's the earth suit. That is a new way of being. And it's interesting that in choosing, you create and you move into a new way of being, into a new way that this card will present whenever we get to that. This is just finding yourself in brand new situations. This represents Earth. This represents obviously the globe, and it's hearkened here how this particular character is looking at how he creates a new way of being in the world, what the third dimension is going to show him every day when he wakes up from his dream state by making a choice. Okay? When this card presents, you're going to have a good idea of what's going on with the other cards and begin to see different patterns showing. Okay? For instance, it is not uncommon that however these things orchestrate themselves, that the best way in order in which to choose a direction of your life, it is almost always in this high priestess energy. Remember this card. This is like the intuition. This is the quieting down, knowing that the answers are behind the veil. You just have to sit in quiet so that you can hear and listen to what's being offered to you as gifts through your intuition and feeling especially. That's the choice. When you see 2 pretty much of anything, you're going to think, oh, there's something that is needed to be done and chosen upon. When it comes in reverse, it means that the choice has been made. You'll be able to tell from the other things going on that whether that was a positive direction in where you're going, or if that's going to lead through the natural laws of cause and effect into some place where you don't want to go. This is a decision has to be made to create a new earth for you to wake up to, or something has already been decided and you can follow that through. Just like how, remember whenever we talked about, this is I think actually before we got into the whole first set of 22 cards, about this whole idea of predictive value in cards, doing the cards for divination, which they're magnificent for, and I like to just play with that, and they're really, really accurate as far as that. But it's the idea of sitting next to someone in a car, and they turn the wheel all the way to the right. Remember this example? And they move 30 feet. And they turn to you and say, hey, can you tell my fortune? Can you tell where I'm going to be in the future? And you say, well, if you keep going the way you're going, you're going to end up in the same place. It's the exact same thing whenever you see this card. The decision has been made. You can see where else whatever kind of spread you're doing, about where that decision is going to lead you. Just like having your car turned in a certain way, it's going to lead you to the same place or maybe straight ahead. Okay? There we go. This is great. After you made your decision, it looks like this. That leads us to the number 3, the next card. That means what we're getting into next. This is where the stream of cards together begin to make sense. And once you watch these videos back to back, you'll be able to see a nice little picture of how your world and how your doings are strung together to create your reality. I'll see you in a second to talk about the 3 of Wands.